Hey there everybody, Decaff here from YSFlight headquarters.com, and today we are doing part 2 of our Google Sketchup to YSFlight series. Today we are talking about what we do after we import our model into Blender. Last time we used an OBJ file export from Google Sketchup and imported that into Blender. Now we are going to get our model ready to be worked on. We're going to get the meshes all ready to begin some smoothing processes and other things like that. So first step, we're going to get rid of these weapons and we're going to talk about why we see colors in the solid view mode. We've only seen colors before in the vertex paint mode and in the the textured view mode. So why are we seeing colors now in the shaded view mode? That's because of materials. What Blender has the ability to do is way beyond anything that we're going to need in modeling for YSFlight. It can make some really nice looking animations and renders and things like that, and to do so you need to define a material for a mesh, and what that does is it defines the surface properties of a particular mesh so that you can get some really interesting things. For example, you can make a mirror finish from pretty much not too much. I've done it before for some other applications, but we do not need that ability at all, and that information in YSFlight modeling is actually too much for our scripts, and it just doesn't work well. So what we're going to do first is we're just going to delete our materials from a mesh. Now how do we do that? What we're going to do is select a mesh in the object mode, and we can come down here and straight up, this is the default menu that you'll see. There is a material defined, material 13, and we're going to delete it. Simple as that. And now we can see things just like we want them to. So I'm going to go ahead and get rid of the weapons, and I will be back to talk to you about some other things that you're going to want to consider as you're going through your mesh and model and getting rid of the material properties. Okay, so I have been jumping ahead a little bit here. I started getting rid of some materials on the wings, and right now we're going to talk about some things where we want to get rid of materials from multiple things at once. Can we do that? Short answer, let's try it out. Short answer, no. We have to do this manually by hand, and as we're going through, we want to look to see and get all the little pieces throughout everything. So underneath here, there's another little light piece there. We got to delete the material from that. If we go into the wire view mode, we can see that there's a lot of stuff in here. There's some air brakes, and there's also the housing for those air brakes. It's split into a couple of different meshes. So we're going to have to delete all of the things from there. And also in our wing here, there is a backing mesh, and we get to delete the materials from that. Some other things that we want to consider as we are going through doing this process is what can we combine, get rid of, or otherwise modify right now really quickly to make our lives easier in the long run. And some examples of that is our fuselage here. We have some overlapping pieces here. What do we want to delete? Well, we're going to want to delete the piece that is small and unnecessary, leaving us with a nice beautiful cockpit area. And we're going to combine that with the rest of our fuselage and the two sections in our nose, just like that. Very straightforward and simple. Now we have one mesh, and we can go ahead and delete all the materials from it, and everything is wonderful. Same thing with the fuel probe. You can do that. You can also do it to the intake spikes, combine those. Same with all the parts of the intake area here, the fronts, the backs, the sides. All those things you're going to want to take care of. Additionally, underneath here, inside of our cockpit, there are materials in there. We're also going to want to get rid of those. Oh, here's one that we can do. We can get our window at the front of our cockpit to be one piece. And now we can actually get into that guy right there and delete the material there. Let's go into things that we're going to want to absolutely get rid of. There's some pieces in here that are not lined up properly, meaning they're not part of the same orientation as the model. And specifically, I am referring to unfortunately, one of the things that attracted me to the model, the tailpipe. In here we have a whole bunch of flame holders that dump raw fuel into our afterburner. A little bit too many, but that's okay. The one thing that I want to really show here, and this piece right here that is characteristic of all the things back here, if we isolate it and look top down, we see that this is actually off center, and it's actually not even constant cross sections as we go through. So that means that it's really nothing that we want to be touching with and trying to modify, because it'll take us a long time to get it right. And quite frankly, looking at all of the vertices in here, we can do a much better job orienting it with much fewer vertices, which is exactly the way we want to go when we're making stuff for YSFlight. So we're going to get rid of this guy. We're also going to get rid of all these vanes back here. And we're also going to get rid of this guy here, because this one is also off center. Now, just because we're getting rid of it doesn't mean that we don't want features back here. We can certainly replace these, and I definitely will be replacing these later on in the project. So keep in mind that you may find things that are not quite oriented properly. See if you can tweak those here and now. If not, go ahead and get rid of them, and let me finish up taking the materials away from everything, and we will be back to finish up this video. Alright, now we have everything all set and ready to go for the next part of our project, and that is to make our mesh nice and smooth looking. So right now we have a really ugly looking mesh. I'm sure you've already noticed that and been like, Decaff, why are we putting all this effort in when it looks so awful? Well, trust me, when we perform the operations that we're going to talk about in the next few videos, this will be looking very, very beautiful. So until next time, if you have any questions about getting rid of materials or anything that we've talked about so far, go ahead and throw me a comment down below, and I'll get back to you as soon as possible. Until the next video, have fun.